Hello everybody, happy Tuesday, glitter goddesses. I'm feeling crafty and I want to make sure that the Christmas album doesn't go into September, so I thought I would just sneak in an extra day. This morning I worked on the super brag book and got all of the measurements finalized and the design completely finalized for that. I had known what I wanted to do with it, but you know, it's in your head, and when you've drawn it out versus when you're actually putting the paper together, things can change. So now I'm good to go. I can actually start writing the guide and filming the videos and all that. So wow, what the heck? I'm so far ahead. It's disturbing. It's disturbing. So how is everybody this fine Tuesday? It's very stormy here. Hopefully that won't cause any problems. But you never know. You never know. All right, so I'm just gonna finish cutting everything for my book. For my book, I need 2 5 1/4 by 6 3/4 inch pieces for the pockets. So that's these. And I need 4 7 1/4 by 4 1/4. I only have 2. And I need 2 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, which I have. And then I need 4 9 1/2 by 4 1/4, which I don't have any of those yet. So just gonna quickly finish cutting all of my pieces so I can score them and put them together. I have one of the scoreboards that I will be testing for you guys. And it is, well, the company, when I bought it on Amazon, was Bira, and when I got it, it says Sunshine, so it appears to just be a sort of generic Chinese knockoff that a bunch of different companies are going to be selling under different names. It looks like the inspiration for it was the Martha Stewart Scoreboard, and I doubt that this will be the one that's the final winner. There are already some issues with it that I'll talk about today. But what I will do is I'm going to be using it today to do all my scoring and everything, so we'll see how it operates like in the real world. And then you can decide if you don't have a scoreboard. Although, I mean, if you have the Martha board, I don't know that I can pretty much tell you would not want to upgrade to this one. There are some scoreboards coming up that you might, depending on how they perform, we might want to upgrade to them. So we shall see. But I don't anticipate this one being that. This one I anticipate being, I don't have a scoreboard at all. So this is what I'm going to buy to get started, if anything. And I don't know how many of my viewers that would apply to. Because if you're watching me and you don't have a scoreboard yet, I don't know how you're scoring stuff, but you're amazing. You must be amazing. That is all I can say. That is all I can say. All right, so now I'm cutting the 9 1/2 by 4 1/4 inch pieces, and I need 4 of these. There's 2. So, hi Margaret, how are you today? Hope you're doing well. I know HSN is having a crafty day. So if anybody sees anything that's a must-have, let us know in the chat. Anything impressed you so far, Margaret Ann? I did this before. I cut this piece 8.5 instead of 9.5, and I'm running out of this brown cardstock, so I can't just live with it. In fact, I'm not sure I have enough brown cardstock to finish this album of this particular brown. We've been doing well. Today the cleaners are here. We've started having cleaners come once a month just to help us keep the cat hair down. And they're here today. And the cats are not happy about it. It's not their favorite day of the month. But it's my favorite day of the month because I don't have to clean the house. Okay. So I'm going to cut this again. Put it actually at 9.5 this time. Hello, Priya, how are you? All right, so now we've got all of our pieces. All right, so so now we have all of our pieces. Let us check out the new scoreboard and see what's what. All right, so as some of you know, I'm on a quest to find a replacement for the Martha Stewart scoreboard since it's not as readily available as it has been in the past. Okay. And what? One of these was too big. All right. Now, the first one I'm going to test is going to be the Chinese one. And that name is not its official name, but the name I bought it under and the name on the wrapper when it came were different. And this is kind of one of those like things that you see sometimes with, there's one factory in China making one product for a variety of people. That's something that's known as white labeling. And so there's a factory that's developed this scoreboard and it's selling it to a number of different brands. And you can see here on this packaging, it says Sunlet. The company I bought it from said it was Bira. There may be other names it's known by. So we're just going to call it the Chinese factory one. I will tell you that I think it's heavier than the Martha board. It's obviously, shall we say, heavily inspired by the Martha board. Like even this is, so this is how the Martha things are sold. Now the markings do look better. There is the one major difference. Two major differences with all right, hold on. Yeah, I think this one's a little bit heavier. All right, so difference number one is that there's no like holder thing at the top to hold your scoring tool, and that's because they have put their scoring tool in its own holder underneath. This is fine if you're going to use their scoring tool. I prefer to use a stylus over a bone folder, and so that would be a minus in my book, that they don't have a place for me to put my stylus. So there's that. The other thing is I want to show you there's something funky going on with the envelope maker. Now, I don't think that most of us scrapbookers use the Martha envelope maker. If you use if you make a lot of envelopes, you're probably using, I imagine you're using the We Are Memory Keepers punch board, because that's a little bit easier. However, they do have an envelope maker. Do you see this notch? They sell a secondary tool, which is a punch, and I believe it's $20. This board is just under 20, and I think the punch is just under 20. So if you were to buy both of them, it would be just under 40. They sell a punch that is very much like the We Are Memory Keepers punch board, where one side is a notch that notches into your envelope, and the other side is a rounder to round the corners of your paper. And so they intend for you to use this board with that notch punch, and to punch the notches with that punch, and then you hook the notch onto this thing, okay? And see, it even has a little cutout right there for you to stick the tip of the scoring tool in beside the notch. So, they have thought this whole thing out pretty well, except you have to buy another $20 punch. And if you have $20 to spend on punches, please just buy the We Are Memory Keepers punch board. If you don't have it already, don't buy these people's punch, because the We Are Memory Keepers punch board will be an all-in-one envelope making tool. You wouldn't need to have two tools to make envelopes. So what I'll say is, I think that they have put some additional thought into the whole envelope making process over what Martha did. However, it requires a secondary tool, which is not cheap. So as far as the envelope making portion of this, I would say there would be no benefit to using it over the punch board, because you're not saving any money, because $20 I think is more than what the punch board costs nowadays. So that's that. So that's the envelope portion of it, okay? So I don't anticipate that getting a lot of use. The other big difference is these blue markings on the Martha board. They're very hard to see. They're up above the black markings. The black markings on this board are far easier to read. I will give this board that over the Martha board. Those are centers. So they start at 0 here at 6, and then they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's so you can center things on your board. And I do use those. So if you use those, then that's a functionality that this doesn't have. So this is not an upgrade to the Martha board. If you already have the Martha board, keep using the Martha board. This does not present an upgrade, as far as I'm concerned. It doesn't have any additional functionality. The numbers do look better, but it doesn't have centering lines. And the envelope maker is weird. So just get for envelope making, just get the We Are Memory Keepers punch board. All right, so now let's see how it scores. So here we've got our 9.5 by 4.25 inch pieces that we're gonna score at 6.25. It does give a really nice thin score. I will give it that. I will give it that. The grooves are a little shallower, so it's not digging into the paper as much. We'll see how it folds, but I suspect that might be a little bit better. The Martha board, I think, is now a Michael's exclusive in store. Hey guys, I'm just gonna smooth out this score line. That's not where I want it. Which is something I noticed when I tried to put one on my Amazon wish list for craft prizes for you guys for National, not National Scrapbook Day. You know, the one that's the one that's in November, Black Friday. Okay. All right, so along the 6 1/4 inch side, I score at 1 5/8. This is the 1 5/8 and 4 1/2. And on the 5, and we score at 5 1/4. On the 5 3/4 inch side, we score at 5 1/4. These are for the pockets that go on the envelopes. So I'm just trying to find an alternative to recommend. Make sure that, you know, just see, and I'm curious if it's still the best one on the market. So I'll be testing a variety of these over the next few months. And maybe by the end of the year, we'll know which one reigns supreme. We Are Memory Keepers has one coming out in a couple weeks that does scoring and trimming, and it has an envelope punch maker built into it. So that one is really interesting to me. I pre-ordered it, so hopefully I'll get it right away when it comes. All right. Okay, so now that we've scored everything, let's fold along the score lines and burnish and see how they do. Very nice and crisp. I do like a nice sharp fold. So okay. All right, so now I'm gonna mark these with their template. Oh wait, we've got to cut them first with the punch board. Punch board, punch board. So I just lined the line up with the center of the notching tool on the punch board and just notch it out. And then I take my 1/4 inch rounder from We Are Memory Keepers, and we're gonna round the bottoms of these. By the way, We Are Memory Keepers, in the why did they make this tool category, where I like to make fun of companies for making tools that no one asked for / needs. They're a frequent punching bag, We Are Memory Keepers. But I would like to point out that the 6 punches I use the most are all from We Are Memory Keepers. And I use the punch board, this punch board, which is, if you count it as a punch, is the 7th punch I use the most. Also from We Are Memory Keepers. So look, they can't all be hits, is what I'm saying. But that doesn't mean that We Are Memory Keepers is a bad company that you shouldn't buy anything from. Far from it. Far from it. But, you know, that being said, I do have another one of their punches to test, and I'm hoping it's good. Because if it's good, then it'll be super awesome. It's for making frames, including Polaroids. And if it could help us make a Polaroid really quickly, that would be sweet. I'd be really happy with that. Looks complicated though, so we'll have to see. But we have so many inserts to do for the Split Decision album that I think the frame one could get a lot of use in that album if it works. If it works. So now I'm just cutting off the tabs. All right, now that this whole thing is it's all shaped properly. These are both shaped properly, so now I'm gonna notch them. With this template I made in the class on Saturday. Yeah, I'm hoping the frames work. Because if the frames work, then that'll be sweet. Maybe we'll play around with it at the end of today's class. But I really will probably play around with it on Thursday. I'm so excited for Thursday. I'm excited to work on the Split Decision album again. I think it's looking so cool already, guys. I'm so happy with page A in the accordion style, how cool it looks. So it's always good when stuff works out. So we use a 1/2 inch circle punch to cut these, and I just line up the part that I've traced. So then when I close it, it's that perfect half circle. All right, so I can put, well, I can't really put because I still need this part of it, but I'm going to put tape on these and then we'll move along. with all the decorating, which we have a lot. We have a lot of decorating. So, yep, I'm excited to get back to Photobomb Split Decision. I think it's gonna look really cool. So I'm gonna leave this tape on. I'm not gonna remove it because before I close that bottom flap, I want to put my pattern paper, my decorative pattern paper on here. So I'm gonna leave it in this position until we're ready to decorate it. Okay. Same with that one. So we're gonna I'm gonna take all 3 of these and put them up here in the corner. All right, so those are all done. So now let's get these 3 assembled. So far so good with the scores. It makes very nice scores, that board. So, all right. Now, I have a little bit of a problem, which is that where I messed up on my paper, you know, these guys hook over in that same spot. So I don't know if I really fixed my problem here. I have to score these 4. Well, I feel like the Martha already jumps the track a lot. That's one of the complaints I have about the Martha. Oops, wrong board. I'm not using Martha. One of the complaints I have about Martha is I feel like the tracks jump more than they need to, more than I would prefer. So that's an issue with her board that it would be cool if we could find a solution to. No, I think it's kind of a known issue with her board because there are people who, like, when I've been researching boards a lot, guys. And a lot of people have that problem. So it's not just us. So if you have that problem, you are not alone. That is, a lot of people say that about the Martha board, and then say, like, when they switch to the Scorepal board, they stopped having that problem. I think the Scorepal board is gonna be good quality. I am gonna test that one as well. My only issue with the Scorepal board going into it is it has a bumper on the right as well as a bumper on the left, and that's a huge problem for me because I use the last score line on a board a lot. You know, because sometimes it's like if I want to score something on the diagonal or connect 2 points or whatever, I use the last line to do that. And if there's a bumper right here, that's going to be impossible. So it just is, that just is what it is. I'll have to wait and see. Plus, sometimes we score things that are longer than 12 inches. You know, like craft text for wraps and things like that. So I don't know. I don't know if I like how that looks. So we'll see. Okay. So let's get everybody stuck together. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to put a line of tape on the back and a line of tape on the front of this. All right. Yeah, I don't know why they have bumpers on both ends. So we'll see, you know, we'll see when I get it if it's an actual issue or what, but that's the problem I foresee with that one. That's the problem I foresee with that one, so. So on the two that have that split in them, what I'm going to do is I'll put a piece of paper on the back of those. Probably a 4x6 card journaling spot will be the easiest. And that'll just help it stiffen up. So that's how I'll solve that problem. And then we'll remove the tape from the inside. So I'm going to add my 4 3x4 journaling spots and my 2 4x6 in this case, just because of my little mess up. Oh, well, I guess I should. All right, so gonna stick all these together. On burnish. They're not as floppy as I thought they'd be, but they're floppier than I'd like, so I am still gonna put something on the 2 that have the crack. Hello, Jill. And these I'm going to glue on because they're on the back of it and it's holding the pieces together and it's going in and out of a pocket. So I'll glue those 2 on because remember they're going on because they're fixing a problem. We have been using the backs blank so we could put a photo on them, leaving the backs blank so we could put a photo on them. And we'll see how they do. All right. So first we'll just use the ATG to put the cards on the inside here. And then we'll put the ones on the back that are going to hold the larger 2 together because I have to cover a mistake because of course I do. because this album is cursed. This album is cursed. Why is it? Because we've just had a mistake on every page for some reason. Like every single page has had some kind of problem. So this album just doesn't want to be made, Jill. It just doesn't want to be made. But that's too bad for it because it's happening whether it likes it or not. That's right. The album wants it to be Christmas all year round, not just July. So it's dragging its feet so that it doesn't get put away. All right, so now I'm gonna just bacon press that so it dries nice and flat. And then we'll do the other messed up one. Maybe, Paula. That's a good point. Be free from your curse, album. You're gonna be housing Christmas memories before you know it. Worst case scenario, we'll just get some white sage and cleanse the album. Okay, dokie. So those two are drying. Now we'll do the last two. You just burn it. My albums that are cursed get 86'd. Yeah, but I mean, it's hard when you already said, hey, I'm going to do a Christmas in July series and I'm going to show you how to make a December daily album out of paper bags in an assembly line fashion that'll be super easy. Because then if you're like, never mind, this album is cursed, I'm not going to do it. Then people are like, but I already started mine. Now I don't know how to finish. And it's like, well, I'm sorry, but there was a curse. Did you not hear? Doesn't work. Or make it a Halloween album. Then the curse will be appropriate. Paula's got a lot of good ideas. She's got a lot of good ideas. I'm really worried. What I want, my goal for this scoreboard project is for the recommendation not to be the one coming out from We Are Memory Keepers that is $70. Which, you know, nothing against We Are Memory Keepers. I know they're a frequent punching bag on untried demos. But they make like 7 of my favorite tools, guys. So I don't hate them at all. They make like 7 of my top 10 most used tools. So, but they do have an all-in-one board coming out and I'm like, it's just gonna be the case that that's gonna be the best one, and it's gonna be so annoying that the winner is 70 bucks. But if you travel, or if you even go to crops on a regular basis, like, not even if you're like Donna said, it would be good for her to take between her house and her beach house so she can keep working on her projects at the beach house, which is true. But even if you just go to crops on a fairly regular basis, you know, it still would be great for that too. All right, so the one that I tested today is this one, which is it says Sunlit here. The company name was Bira, B-I-R-A, when I bought it on Amazon. It's just a generic Chinese white label one. I'm sure you would find this board with a variety of different brand names. White labeling is when one factory makes the same product for multiple companies. Well, right, and the RV idea too. And so the product is the same, they just have different brand names on them. This is it, and the lines are a lot darker than the Martha one. I like that, and we didn't have any problem jumping out of the grooves either, which was nice. So it works just fine, but I don't know if it's going to be the best one. Or limited storage. Yeah, I'm afraid it's going to be a too good to be true concept too. That's what I'm afraid of, that we're going to get it, and it's going to be like just okay at each of those things, and then it's like so that it can't really, that if you are, it's not a great replacement, you know, it's just for on the go. Well, Jill, it's funny because in my research into scoreboards, the jumping grooves thing is a complaint that people only have about the Martha board. It seems unique to the Martha board. Yeah, I can lift it up to show the markings. All right, so it has 1/8, just like the Martha board on both sides. It does not have centering lines like the Martha board does, but it is open on the right, so that if you use this last groove to score like I do, to score odd things, then that function is there. So, but the big difference as far as the markings go is the markings on the Chinese one are much darker, and it doesn't have the blue centering markings. So if you use the centering markings, which I do, this is not an upgrade, this is a downgrade. Even though it is easier to see. I do like how much easier it is to see. All right, let's get to work. Yeah, you could easily make your own. But if you already have the Martha board, there's no reason for you to get that one, as far as I'm concerned. Unless you can't read the Martha one for some reason. Like, because its markings are pretty faint, so. But yeah, you could easily just write over with the numbers. And I'll show you what Jill means when she says get a Sharpie to write. I'll show you where she would put what numbers. Because you wouldn't have to do much. Ooh, for a scoring ball tool, I use a pretty small one, actually. What size is mine? It's pretty darn teensy. This is the Martha Stylus. This is the one that I use. But you can see it's pretty small on both ends are pretty small. I usually use the smaller end. Right? Do I use the smaller end? Yes, we've been talking about that. Comes out on the 23rd. I pre-ordered it. So I'm going to get it as soon as a Cherry on Top gets theirs and ships it. I will test it. But we're testing this guy. which is just a Chinese Martha Stewart knockoff. Okay. So what Jill is saying is if you want to make your own lines, all you have to do is put a 1 over the 5 and a 1 over the 7. You put a 2 over the 4 and a 2 over the 8. You don't have to draw lines or measure anything. And then 3 over the 3 and 3 over the 9. And then 4 over the 2 and 4 over the 10. And 1 over the 1, or 5 over the 1 and 5 over the 11. And 6 over the 0 and 6 over the 12. And now you have centering lines. Now you have centering lines. That's all you have to do to add centering lines. So when Jill said all you have to do is get a Sharpie and draw it, that's literally what she meant. You don't have to draw actual centering lines. You just have to renumber the numbers. So it's really, it would be very simple if that's a hold up. All right, so that does solve that problem. Thank you, Jill. Thank you, Jill. So she says, voila, et voila, tout de suite, problem solved. My French accent is very Italian. That's cool. We're not going to talk about that. No, the one you just saw in so they do have a trimmer scorer in Hobby Lobby that's about 8 inches wide. But they have coming out on the 23rd a all-in-one board and it is 12 inches because it has a swing arm. It is a 12-inch paper trimmer and scorer. It has a envelope punch board built into it. It has a round hole punch built into it. It has a tab punch built into it. Oh, it has plastic posts that you can stick in holes in it to use it to make tassels. That was the part that I was like, it has a stamp press that built into it. Yes. So it really combines a lot of their tools in one. And a bow maker. So when they used it for the bow, I was like, okay, well, that's cool. But then when they were like making pom-poms out of it, I was like, no, I'm not making pom-poms. You can't make me. We are memory keepers. We are not doing a pom-pom album, guys. It's not happening. So I'm going to see if I can cut down on putting the papers in the wrong spots by putting the bags in the book and then decorating them. Yeah, Candy. I think once it hits big box stores and you can use a coupon on it, if you can use a coupon on it, it's gonna really be a deal. I of course paid $70 because you know, I pre-ordered it from a cherry on top and I paid full price. That's what happens if you want to get the tools right away to test on your scrapbook show, I guess. No, don't use a sharp one because you don't want to cut, Margaret. And you don't want to use a really tiny stylus. I mean, I would say this one's these are probably 1 and 2 millimeters. No, 2 and 3. These are 2 and 3. So these are 2 and 3 millimeters. So I wouldn't go any tinier than 2 because you don't want to cut the paper. If your scoring tool is too sharp, it will cut paper. Well, yeah, and then we have to wait 3 years, Jill. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, what do we need? 10, 12, 14, 16 is what we're doing today. All right, so we're gonna use 16. All right. So I've noticed, since we're doing this a little bit more organized than I've done the other pages, that I have 3 red. So I want to be mostly green with my paper choices this time, I think. All right. And I think, didn't I use up last time all of my already cut paper? I did, didn't I? Yeah, I think I did, guys. I'm going to have to recut some pieces. Okay. We're going to turn this joy into a banner probably. Just trying to get my paper a little bit organized. Okay, so first, no, I've never had good luck with foil sharpening stuff. I wonder if that's just an urban legend. Okay, so 4 5/8 tall by, okay, 5 3/4 wide by 4 5/8. 5 3/4 by 4 5/8. 5 3/4 by 4 5/8. All right, so we're gonna use this one. I'm going to use this one. All right. Okay, so any of these that I don't think would, that I don't want to use for a background, because maybe they're more plain than I would like, or they're just not what I'm looking for right now, like these two. I'm just going to go ahead and pull them out just for now. And anything I think that would be cute as a background page. The rest of them I'll cut a 5 3/4 by 4 5/8 inch piece off each of them. Yeah. Okay. So this is just a lot of, oops, why did I cut this one twice? Oopsie. Oh well. Why not? Why not make another mistake in the book? Oh, mistakes. Oh yeah, if you you punch through score tape a lot, it is going to gum up your punches. I mean, I just know it, so I just live with it. Yeah, we should rename this the Book of Mistakes. And I keep all of my little tiny pieces, I'm keeping them all in a little pile right here because those are great for lining envelopes, things like that. And I keep them all in their own separate little bag so that when it comes to the point of we are lining envelopes and what have you, then you know, I have it for me. This one I had to trim down a little bit more. Some of them need more trimming than others to look cute. The Oops book. Oopsie! Oopsie daisy. last one, and then we can pick 3. Okay, so these little small pieces I'll put in my bag of tiny scraps, so then when it comes time to line the envelopes and things like that, or the pockets, whatever, those things that go on the bottoms of the bags, whatever we're calling them, you know, I have those little tiny bits. So staying organized or keeping my desk clean, you know, I'm always cleaning and putting things in piles and stuff. That helps me stay organized so that it's easier for me to decorate later. So that's a huge help for me as I go. All right, so I think I'm gonna do, this is gonna be 10. Oof. All right, so here's 10. Okay, so we need 12. And then 12 and 14 look at each other. So they have to be 2 pieces that would go. Okay. I'm gonna swap out 12 and then, ooh, no. All right, 12 and then 16. Alrighty. All right. Now, I have a couple scraps I'm going to cut down to the size of the pages. See if they're big enough. This one's too small. Yeah. It's 4.5. All right, so now we've got a nice little pile, a few little scraps, but everything's pretty much good to go. All right, so I'm going to put this away. I'm going to make some room on my desk because this is dry enough by now. I'm going to get rid of the bacon presses. Okay, and I'm going to peel up this tape. I have to clean before I leave the craft room because if I walk in the craft room and it's dirty, I'll just turn around and walk back out. And I won't work and I won't do anything. So for me, I cannot let it go. I can't go to bed until it's clean. You know, when I'm done for the day, what I do is when I'm like, say I'm recording for a new project, then I get the recording uploading into Box or rendering or whatever I'm doing with it. And then while it's doing its thing, then I clean the room. Video rendering is like the bane of my existence. That, and then second to that is uploading. Okay. Yeah, you're just going to be a jerk, huh? All right. So just going to put a photo over that. It won't bother me in the finished book. You know, you'll only see 1/8 of an inch on the very edge once the photo's on top of it. So, no worries. So, all right, so there we go. All right, so now all of those are done and ready to go in the book. We've got these and we've got these. What's this? The joy. Okay, so we'll put the joy here. All right, so now we just have to figure out how we're going to decorate the other ones. This one we won't need to do much, 10, because 10's looking pretty cute as it is. The ones that are all page sized, I'm going to clip together. All right, so we have this. I'm trying to think how I could use this. We could use the Be Merry. This, we could use the problem with the ho 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 is it's so big we can only use one ho, and then it's a lot less festive if there's only one ho. So that's a different kind of message. Exactly. It does sound wrong. Exactly. Oops, I don't want that. Oops. All right, so somewhere we can put the Be Merry. I don't think that's the place for it. Oh, here we go. Yeah, that's cuter. Okay, we got that. Joy. 16 looks pretty cute. I'm gonna go just take a look at what I've got as far as tabs go. And I have these two tabs. Okay. Okay. Got an idea. I'm gonna cut this tab out. Okay. What are Totally Tiffany bags, Jill? Tell me about them. What do they do and do I need them? I didn't know they existed until now, but I may need them. That's how it works. They're clear bags with a hook and loop closure. Ah. Okay, so what if we stuck this? No, that doesn't look, that is adding nothing. Okay, fine. All right, we're just gonna do this. Alrighty, alrighty, alrighty. So the ones that we kind of have an idea of what we're gonna do, I'm gonna start gluing them down. Ah, she makes organizational stuff for crafters. Oh well, since I already organized my entire craft room, I guess I will have to just not check it out because I don't actually need any organization right now, which is crazy because I love organization. But because I went over my craft room with a fine-tooth comb last year, about this time last year, we did it in November. So, and I've been good. Haven't bought much this year, actually, which helps. I need a new 1/2-inch roll O tape. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, here's one. Okay. I'm trying to use up all my 1/2-inch tape and only have one 3/8 inch going forward. So, because I think that 3/8 inch is a more useful size than 1/2 inch. And if you have 3/8 inch, you don't really need 1/2 inch. Oh, I have 2 more rolls of 1/2 inch after this roll. It's gonna be a while before I'm out of 1/2 inch tape, guys. It's gonna be a while. Well, that's what we did. I cleaned out the whole room. And now it basically, if you've seen the craft room tour from Scrappy Bowl, it still looks like that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the 12 and just butt it up against the Be Merry so that it looks like it's under the Be Merry. I think I need to cut more off of it. Yeah, that looks better. Jill says, I have no problem getting rid of stuff I don't love. My problem is I'm too loving. Yeah, I had to be really vicious with my stash in last November when we did the overhaul. Or December? Yeah, December. I had to be brutal. And last class I had no extra cardstock. It's true. That is a problem I've consistently had since I decluttered all my colored cardstock. to switch to using just one brand. I should have kept a pile of like 100 sheets of really ugly cardstock to use. Oh, well, you don't throw out tape. She sounds like a crazy person, Candy. Yeah. I mean, it's not like it goes bad. And it's expensive. It's not the same as paper you're not going to use because you bought it in a like 5 sheets for 10 cents sale at Michael's. Okay. I'm glad you ignored her, Candy. I mean, I buy ATG in packs of 12, so... And I don't even use it as much as I used to. All right, I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. I'm going to get a 1 1/4. Well, no, I want them to be consistent. Never mind. I'm not going to make it be smaller. All right, so that looks super cute. Almost looks like a little pie next to this gingham. Remember, simple, simple, simple with this stuff. Because what you don't want, guys, is you want to just be able to put anything you need, because you don't know what's going to happen on any of these days necessarily, except for some obvious days like the 24th and 25th. So you don't want to lock yourself in by like making anything too specific. All right, this one I think we'll just... Maybe we can find a little banner to put behind the 10. Because I have I'm going to use this little happy holidays right here. I'm really nervous about buying tape ATG that's not from Scotch, because some albums from that I did when I first started crafting in like 2006, before I got my ATG, I've had to go back and reattach everything. And I was still using Hermafix, I think it was called. Was a good, you know, acid-free, made for scrapbooking tape. And it still didn't hold up over time. So I'm pretty paranoid about the tape that I put into 12 by 12 albums. Jill says my ad tech stuff has always had to be redone. Yeah, see, I just, it's, you know, for me, it's like worth having to pay the extra to only have to do it one time. Yeah, I mean, there we go. Okay. Oof, candy. That snail they sell is Tombow, I think. I think that's who makes it for them. So that's at least who used to make it for them. I don't know if that's still who makes it for them. I trust the ATG because the ATG is made for professional framers. That's who the gun was designed for. That's who the adhesive was designed for. So I know that the stuff that's by 3M will be both strong and acid-free. And in my 12 by 12 layouts, I care about acid-free. In my mini albums, I don't. But in my 12 by 12 layouts, which is where I use most of ATG, I do. Okay, flip it up. Rub, 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 rub. Rub, 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 rub. Okay. All right, so these are ready to go in the book. Doing well, you guys. We're doing well. If I could change one thing about Miracle Tape, it would be this stupid piece of blue tape. It's a roll of tape, guys. It doesn't need a tape to tape it shut. Why do you do this? Why? 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 Oh, I got a bad roll. Let's see if I can save it. Yep, looks like I can save it. Guess that's what I get for making fun of their tape. That was pretty instant karma. Dun, da, da, da. Dun, 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 dun. And then we'll put all these pages in the book, and then we'll quickly do the inserts. Then we'll work on the pockets, because that's the last kind of complicated thing. And then we'll be done with this page. And we'll be over halfway done with this book. There is probably not going to be a secret class this weekend, because this Saturday is our anniversary. 13 years. I'm gonna go to a restaurant in this area that makes all the top 10 lists all the time. So the restaurant we wanted to go to, which is kind of consistently rated the best steakhouse, they don't have openings till like September. So apparently that's one of those things where if you want to do it, you know, you got to be planning it 3 months out. Okay, into the book. Do 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 do. All right. I know. It's like if you want to go to that steakhouse for a special event, you have to put a reminder in your phone for a month ahead of time at least to make a reservation. So anyway, we are not going there because they don't have any times. But that's okay. We're going to, the place we're going is called Eulalie. Wait, you are the wrong size. Ugh, I have to cut 1/8 of an inch off this. I hope I don't have to cut 1/8 of an inch off every single one of these. And their menu looks really interesting. So I'm happy. I'm happy with it. It's fine. Now they were also pretty full, but we were able to get a reservation for 3:45 in the afternoon, which I was fine with. I said we would just do brunch, you know, have a later breakfast, and then it would be fine. And then we won't be super full when we're trying to go to bed. Let me guess, every single one of you is too big? Cool. So that's where we're gonna go. Okay. And then I said we could always go to the movies after, you know, and do dinner and a movie. So maybe we will go see a movie if there's anything interesting. Or maybe we'll just go see something stupid like Hobbs and Shaw. Just something that would be silly and fun. Am I going to have something with mustard? I mean, I actually don't have a problem with mustard. So if something with mustard catches my eye, maybe. But it's not like I'm going out of my way to find mustard. You have to cook Thanksgiving dinner on September 7th? Isn't that a month early, Tandy? I thought your Thanksgiving was at the beginning of October. I thought it, because it is, I think it's the same day as our Columbus Day, which is in October. But, so yeah, we'll see. Eulalie is where we're going to go on Saturday. So we're not going to be doing something this Saturday. Because normally I do it around 2. And that will be too close to when I need to get ready to go to my early bird special. Because I'm old. My blue plate special. All right, guys, I'm gonna get a bag for some of these little tiny cut aparts that are starting to gather on my desk. Because I don't want them to get lost. All right, excellent. So this is done. So now we need to get four cards to go on these, on the flaps, and 4 cards to go on the all right. So now we just need to make a matching . Four by 6 card for each of these. Okay. Okie dokie. Excellent. All right, so we're just going to quickly ink and tape all of these, and then we'll get them in their bags. This is where I really feel efficient, when you really feel like, okay, yeah, just got all my stuff cut out, just making choices, inking, sticking, making choices, inking, sticking. And if you think about what we've spent the most time on today, was on making these inserts, making all the inserts. So the smallest part, or not the smallest part, the longest part is making the inserts. And of course you could skip the inserts if you wanted your book bags to be even easier, because you can just put photos right on mats and stick them in the pockets with your memorabilia, so that you don't have to worry. All right, so now that those are inked, I'm going to go ahead and tape. A tool that inked the edges of things would be really convenient. I keep saying I need to get a sous-scrapper who I can just say, and voila, here are all my things done for me. You know, where I could just choose all the papers and then hand them to my sous-scrapper, and they would tape everything while I moved on and chose all my papers for like the next part of the project. And then we could just glue everything down at the end. So if you live in the Tampa area and you want to come over and sit in my craft room while I do a show and tape things twice a week, let me know. Let me know, guys. If you're in Hillsborough County, Florida, and your dream has always been to be someone's sous-scrapper, and you're available Thursdays, please email me at info@kathrynscrappers.com. You can also be the chat moderator so you don't get bored while you don't have anything to ink. Gretchen says, I wish I lived closer. Hey, it's a pretty fun job. I would probably pay $15 an hour. I mean, granted, that's only $60 a week, but hey, that's a trip to Michael's. But that's true. Gretchen said we would never keep up with Kathryn if she gets a sous crafter. That's true. You would never. That would be hard. It would be hard to keep up if I got a sous crafter. I need a sous crafter named Sue. It would help if your name was Sue, or if you were legally willing to legally change your name to Sue. That would also be cool. You're not asking for much, am I? No, I feel like my request is pretty reasonable. It's really completely reasonable. I could probably, I might be willing to forego the name has to be Sue thing. We could maybe, Maybe the name doesn't have to be Sue. But candidates named Sue will be given priority, because I know that there's going to be a huge, there's going to be just a rush of people beating down my door for this opportunity. So are you going to offer dinner? Yes, but it will always have mustard. It will always have mustard. All right, need a new roll of 1/4-inch tape. Anyway, so send resumes to info@kathrynscraps.com with the subject line Sue Crafter application. And hopefully we'll find someone shortly to be my Sue Crafter. If I actually get an application, I will fall over dead, probably. Oh, Gretchen said you could call me Sue during class. I would be fine with that. Oh, okay. Well, there we go. We'll make a moderator username for whoever holds this position. It'll be Sue, S-U-E, Crafter. Instead of the French S-O-U-S, which is the actual word. Almost done with the inserts. All right. I'm so excited. This book is going to be done before September. Ugh, Gretchen, computers doing updates are so annoying. These little insert books are so cute too. Honestly, this project is turning out so adorable. Even if it has put up a fight, even if it has really put up quite the fight, it's at least looking cute. Yeah, a man named Sue. His dad named him Sue so he would get beat up a lot as a kid or whatever, and he'd get a thick skin and learn how to not care what other people thought about him. Something like that. Because if you can survive being a man named Sue, you can survive anything, or some such reasoning. Okay. Now we will put these in their appropriate pockets. Oh, he was supposed to beat up everyone who made fun of him? All right, so now we've got all our inserts done. So now the only part left is the flaps. We have to do those last. We can't prep anything because we don't know what is all going to be going on in this neck of the woods. So we have to wait until the very end. All right. So I'm going to put burlap on the pockets this time because we have a lot of burlap on this layout. And the pieces that go on the bottoms of the bags are 2 3/4 by 4 1/2. All right, so here's those two pieces. All right, I'm going to ink these and stick them down. Just so much inking and sticking. Inking and sticking. So much to ink and stick. All right. So we'll get these stuck down. Then we have to pick the two vertical 3x4 cards that go on the mats. The mats are right there. We've already cut those. On the top of these burlap pieces. So once the burlap pieces are done, we can put those two cards down. Pick two cute little cards to put down. And then once those are down, we'll do the pockets. And that'll be it for this set of 4, and that'll be today's class. Unless I decide to mess around with the frame thing and see if I can get it to work. But if I do that, I'll change the recording. So that won't be on here. But I might not do that because my shoulder is kind of bugging me. So. And I always got to be paying attention to my dumb body and its signals. All right, then this piece. Okay, then we'll grab these. And we'll get 2 3x4 cards that look cute. All right. I really think that one's cute, but it's not. I mean, that's good for the 24th, so we should definitely use it on the 24th. I like ornament better, so I'm going to put ornament there. And we'll do the nice list. All right. And inky inky. All right. Then we'll stick these to the cards, and we can just use ATG for this because they're not, you know, nothing's going in and out of them, nothing's brushing past them, so they don't need to be glued on or anything like that. But we will tape them to the book. But first, we're going to put pattern paper on the back of them where they poke up over the flap just to add another layer of paper. All right. So even when you use ATG, I do recommend burnishing because ATG is also a pressure sensitive tape, just like Score tape and Miracle tape are. All right, so just gonna get 2 strips of paper. These 2 will be great. Or we'll use these 2 because they're already cut. Check to make sure they're long enough. They are. So stick them down. stick this down. Looking good. All right. So now all I'm gonna do is just trim the edges. And ink. And ink. And trim. And trim. And ink. And ink. Okay. So now we'll tape. And what I do is I run the tape below the paper because we want only paper to show up the top. We don't want to risk putting our tape too high and the tape showing. And so I'll also run a line of tape along the top of the bag, and that these will stick to. And what a cute little book. I'm so glad I finally got to use this paper. When this paper first came out, I wanted to use it. And I just didn't have a use for it that year for whatever reason. And now I'm so glad I do. I'm so glad it has a second chance to live. Anxiously waiting for the Amazon delivery guy who has more magnet sheets and more pockets to organize my dies and a baby paper pack. Well, I was on Etsy the other day looking at digital paper, and I was like, what kind of an album do I need to do, you know, that I haven't done, and just really, or haven't done in a while, and I was thinking baby. Because I've only ever done one baby album, maybe, I think. Maybe. So, yeah. Maybe we'll do a baby album. But, of course, guys, if I do a baby album, like all my albums, it'll be something that you could also use for other types of memories, because I don't really like to do things that are so specific anymore, that you can't just use them for anything you want. So if I do a baby album, it'll be, you know, some kind of like volumetric memory keeping, where it's something you would do in volume, so you could use it for like years in the school year for the kids or grandkids or whatever, you know, there would be another purpose to it. All right, guys, so now we just have the pockets to decorate, and then we're done with this book. So that's these two guys. We know the pattern paper is 2 5/8 by 4.5. So we need 2 pieces of paper that are that. Okay. I think I want to use this pattern and maybe, okay, so we're going to use this pattern. And what else? Which other pattern? What would look good across from that? Dun dun dun. I'm going to go ahead and use this. And this. All right. So I'm going to put this music note paper on the back of both of them just to simplify the backs so I don't have to worry about them. And then I just need something to go on their insides and their bases. Actually, and that's where these little baby scraps come in. Can put this in one of them, these two, and then this one. Honestly, there. Done. Done, done, done. Oh, that's very exciting. Yeah, maybe I'll do a baby album. Baby album. All right. So what I say, I'm going to put this on the back of both of them. All right, so the backs. Okay, that's that. And then these two. All right, so I've got all my pieces and parts. We'll just have to stick them all together. All right, so we need our template for the pattern paper. And I remade this template in Saturday's class. So if you need it, you can check it out there. And everything else needs to be taped and then punched. Okay. Taping, punching, inking. Alright, so I'm going to use 1-inch tape for the stuff that's going on the back and on the insides before we punch them with the We Are Memory Keepers punch board. Oof. I'm gonna have to Okay. Wow, this one wants to be feisty. Alright, so now I'll get the We Are Memory Keepers punch board for these guys. All right. So now these will all get inked and stuck down. All right. And then stick this one down in the other one. And then we'll put these on the back. And then these two little scraps that go on the bottom, they're 1/2 inch, and I'm gonna put 3/8 inch tape just right down the center of them. And then round their corners, ink them and stick them down. Actually, I think these are supposed to be 3/8 of an inch, so I will have to trim a little bit off the bottom of them. But it's not a big deal. So they'll fit. I'm just gonna put like, get rid of a tiny little sliver. You know what, I'm gonna eyeball it because I'm not that worried about it. I'm just gonna cut a sliver off the bottom of each one. So there we go. And then these will get inked and stuck to the bottom of the appropriate envelope. And that'll be our book, and it'll be so cute. I mean, that won't be our book because it's not done. It's not finished, but we're getting close. We still have some more days to do, but I don't think we have a ton more days to do. Maybe. Maybe not. We'll have to check how many days we have left. All right. So those go there. So now I'm gonna ink these, or tape and ink these. I'm missing a roll of tape. I'm missing my, oh, here it is. Never mind. So when I get done, I will upload this video to the YouTube, to YouTube and to the archives. It'll be in both places. And I'll, of course, be back on Thursday, as usual, for the normal class. We're going to keep working on split decision, which I am so happy with so far. We've had the planning class and the class for mini page style A. Oops, I'm using the wrong punch. I need to use a 1 3/4 inch punch on these because they're slightly larger. The planning class was something. So let me know, what did you guys think of the planning class? We made a lot of decisions all at once. We made a ton of decisions in a really short period of time. So that's one of the things that I think is cool about the Album Basics Guide is how many options you have for what you want to do. So, you know, there would be so many variations in books from person to person, unless you're following along, you know, exactly. Well, Priya, that makes sense, you know, where it's all just it's just a bunch of numbers and information coming at you until you see how the changes affect the pages. That makes sense. Was it too fast? I was trying to book through it, to be honest, because I didn't want to spend like 2 hours on that. I wanted to actually get a page done. But in the future, I could go slower and try and explain more of why I'm making each decision. What do you guys think? I mean, I just wanted to book it because I figured people who were following along would have the recordings, because the recordings from the live classes come with the guides. So if you wanted to kind of go back and go over again anything that was there, but it wouldn't like get anyone like too bored to tears who was like, just make something. But I do want to talk through the changes and why you might make changes and things like that, because I do think going through all that can help you use your guides better. All right, so it sounds like it was a little fast. We can go slower with the Super Brag book, although the Super Brag book, like I said, I was going to simplify the Super Brag book, so it only has a couple decisions to make. All right, and then these are ready to go in the book, and that finishes off this set of pages. So honestly, oh, interesting, Candy. So you will be adding an inch to everything. You'll be adding an inch. Or you might want to make it not 11, but 11.5 to give yourself some room for the programs, unless you're going to stick the programs, have them poking out of stuff. Hi, Bev. I mean, you could go crazy and make it 12 by 12. You would just have to add anything that was 10 and had a 1-inch score on either side. You would just put hinges there instead. And you would have to do a double layer of chipboard for your cover, because you'd have to make a 13, you know, your cover would be bigger than 12 inches. So that might be pushing it. So maybe an 11.5-inch square. That way you have wiggle room for the programs, but you can still do a 12 by 12 cover. Well, Candy's like, why? Why are you making this so much more confusing? Why did you give me so many choices? Oh, I forgot to put a piece of tape at the top of the paper bag, so I'm going to sidle it, get it in there as soon as I figure out what I did with my roll of tape, which is currently missing. Oh, you already sort of decided on 11.5. Okay, so I didn't make it weird. So I'm just gonna, no, you know what? I'm gonna use a line of glue. Haha. I'm not gonna try and squeeze tape in there. Let's just squeeze glue in there. All right, I'm just gonna put those clothespins on there to hold it in place while the glue dries for me. And so I don't have the same problem on the opposite one, I'll put my tape. Paper bags are not archival safe. They are made out of pretty cheap paper. Typically, the cheaper the paper, the higher the acid content, just in general. I do have a tutorial, if you have access to the archives, called, it's going to be in the classroom archives, and I believe it's called Designer Paper Bag Album. It's from Scrappy Bowl one year, I think 2015 or 2016, and it shows you how to use designer paper to make a paper bag so that you can have archival safe bags. And it has a little mini written tutorial on how to do it. Well, mini albums in general are not archival safe. Just the idea of a mini album. Mini albums are not archival safe. So, I mean, any mini album, no matter what they're made out of, is not archival safe. So, even if they're made out of all acid-free materials. So, because of that, people have varying, because we touch them directly, correct. And you have acid in your fingertips, so every time you touch them you transfer acid to the paper and the paper becomes acidic. In addition to that, photos and other paper products, anything with ink, is damaged by ultraviolet light, so any exposure to light And dust also can degrade paper as well. So unless you're storing your mini albums in a UV protected cabinet that is closed off so there's no dust getting into it, and you wear gloves when you handle them, then they are not archival safe. And if you put memorabilia in them, if you put receipts in them, if you put tickets in them, if you put programs in them, any of that is not archival safe either. So the reason I mention this is because if something being lasting 150 years is important to you, then 12 by 12 scrapbooking is the only thing that's really going to guarantee that. Now, mini albums can last a long time. I'm not saying they're going to fall apart in 2 years. I'm just saying they're not archival safe for what the, you know, meaning can last 100 years or more. They are not, and they never will be. That being said, a paper bag album is going to disintegrate way faster than something made with acid-free paper on acid-free chipboard with acid-free glue, you know, on acid-free cardstock. A paper bag album is going to be way less archival safe than something like that because the bags themselves will be giving off acid, and the acid will be affecting anything with ink, and the acid will be affecting anything, well, basically it'll be slowly disintegrating the paper is what it does. So yeah, if something lasting 20 years is important to you, I would say a paper bag album couldn't even make it that long. Although it would depend on how gently you're handling it. And honestly, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how long a paper bag album would last. I have a paper bag album with, oh no, my mom stole it from me. I was going to say, I have a paper bag album with photos in it that I made. When did I make it? Do I have it? Nope. That's definitely been stolen from me. All my best stuff gets stolen. I mean, stuff just walks out of here, guys. I don't know. The craft room is not safe. Do I still do 12 by 12? The last 12 by 12 thing that I did was my sister's wedding album, so I haven't done 12 by 12 since then. But I don't craft much, not for this show. So the majority of what I craft for myself, when I'm crafting for myself, is 12 by 12. That's what I do for me. I just haven't done anything for me in a while, specifically just for me. And that was partially because like 2016 and 2017 and 2018 were all like complete upheaval on our end, personal life wise, because in 2016 we had a ton of personal tragedies strike our friends and family. It was a horrible year. I went into a horrible depression because of it, and I really struggled to do anything at all. And then we moved to San Antonio, Texas, to be near my sister and her husband in 2017. So we moved from Northern Virginia, DC area to San Antonio, Texas, which, in 2017. And after we'd been there for 2, maybe 3 months, my sister's husband left her. So then she was super depressed and didn't want to stay in San Antonio, and she didn't have a job or any way to support herself. So we packed up all her stuff and all our stuff, and we moved to Florida, because the only reason we moved to Texas instead of Florida was because she and her husband were there. So we wanted to be near her more than we wanted to live in Florida. But she didn't want to stay in San Antonio, and we were like, fine, we'll just move to Florida. So after being in Texas for like 3 months, we moved to Florida. So we moved 1,800 miles twice in 6 months. Between July and November of 2017, we moved halfway across the country twice. So that was super fun. And then there was just, it was a lot of stress helping her with all of that and everything. And getting her through that, helping her find a job, helping her get back on her feet after having been out of the workforce and everything. I mean, there's just been a lot that goes along with getting a divorce, we have learned, in addition to the emotional support and all of that. So that was all happening throughout 2017 and then into 2018. And then in the summer of 2018, the stress got to me, guys. And I was hospitalized for hypertensive crisis and persistent tachycardia, which is basically your heart beating 1,000,000 miles a minute and your blood pressure so high that at any moment you could have a stroke, basically. So I had to be hospitalized because of that. Now that was caused by, I got a cold and I was short of breath because I'm allergic to cats and my sister's cats live with us. That's who these cats belong to, is my sister. So I went to the ER to get a nebulizer and they gave me 2 doses of albuterol, and I had a reaction to the albuterol that caused that persistent tachycardia and that hypertensive crisis. So I spent the next 6 months under a cardiologist's care to deal with the outcome of all of that. And I had to make a ton of lifestyle changes and dealing with all of that. But that's all dealt with. My blood pressure is normal and I'm healthy otherwise. Now it's all under control. So that happened on May 31st into June 1st was when that happened. And that took months to deal with. In November and December, we upgraded the classroom technology to Ultra HD, 4K Ultra. We changed all our equipment. We reorganized everything. And we debuted the new classroom in January of 2019. And then everything's been fine since January, I think. Pretty much in everyone's life has been going well. Intern Liz has a guy she's seeing pretty casually, but he's very nice and he treats her nicely, and you know, she's got a job and all of that. So how do we deal with the cats now? Well, we've done a couple things. One is I quit smoking. I had been a smoker and I had been smoking more because of all the stress. And I had to stop that because of the blood pressure. But that also had the side effect of helping a lot with the cat allergies. And then in addition to that, we bought a high-end HEPA air filter for every room in the house where I spend time. So there's one in this office, there's one in our bedroom, there's one in the living room, to help deal with their fur. And then we're also cleaning the cat's fur, and we're having the house cleaners come. And we also got on a recurring delivery of air filters, so we're changing the air filters all the time. So anyway, everything is pretty much good now. Mostly my eyes just itch. The last time I got sick or felt bad was during oak pollen season. That really bothered me. I think I just couldn't deal with cat plus oak, you know. But yeah, so we've had a lot, but I actually think everything is fine now, for everybody. I think the classroom's going really well. Feel like I've been so productive this year with getting projects out, completed on time, interesting stuff where you guys are learning a lot and I feel like I'm teaching a lot. So anyways, like, stuff can be bad for a while, but I think, you know, stuff does get better. You can, even when it just is like, you feel like everything is just completely falling apart all around you, like, you can bounce back in a relatively short amount of time. Like, I mean, the first year after my sister's divorce sucked really bad. And at the 18-month mark was when we were all kind of like finally coming out of the fog of it all. And I was on the phone with my parents and I said, you know, we've only lived here for 18 months. I was like, oh my gosh, it feels like 5 years. Like that 18 months felt like 5 years. And so my dad said, well, time flies when you're having so much fun. So I say don't move across the country twice in 4 months. Pro tip number one. That absolutely don't do that. And then pro tip number two, take care of your health, man, because your body can sneak attack you if you are just like ignoring it because nothing feels too bad. So, body maintenance is important. Body maintenance is important, guys. So don't ignore your body, even if you think it's a jerk. So, yeah, but everything is fine, When my parents came for Christmas this past Christmas, we had totally organized the whole house. We had totally organized the whole craft room and everyone was happy. Whereas the previous Christmas, we'd only been living in Florida for a month and everyone was totally massively depressed. And my mom and dad just said that there was such a huge difference in everyone's mood, in our mood, and my sister's mood, and even in the cats were happier and more well-adjusted and calmer. So, it gets better. I mean, you have to work at making things better. Like, I think it's an active process where you have to try and identify what's wrong. You know what I mean? And you have to work with yourself. And then anyone else who you need help from, whether it's like your husband or your wife or your brother or your sister or your cousin or your therapist, whoever, get the help that you need. But yeah. But you have to work. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I had to do in order for things to get better. And they weren't pleasant necessarily, but although being hospitalized and everyone's staring at you like they expect you to die any minute, is a big motivator, you guys, as far as getting your life together goes. So, especially one cardiologist came in and was like, okay, so basically this is just one of those things that happens. Sometimes you had a weird reaction to this medication and there's no permanent damage and your heart is fine, But she was like, but I want you to think about what it felt like to be in here, because if you don't change your ways, and take better care of yourself, this could be your life. And I was like, oh gosh, I don't want this to be my life. I guess I'll work hard. So I did, and it's fine. But, So anyway, so yeah, I guess that was super serious. I'm not, don't take any of that as like complaining or anything, guys, because I am not complaining. I'm having fun. I'm really grateful. I think we all had fun this year. I felt like 2019 has been great for me. I hope it's been great for you guys so far. So, and we're almost done with this cute Christmas album, and I will be so far ahead because my Christmas book will be done before my family even gets here. Woo! All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining me. I had fun as always hanging with you glitter goddesses in the glitter gang. And I will see you on Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern USA time and 9 p.m. Eastern USA time. Right now it's about 4 p.m. Eastern USA time, so use that to kind of figure out what's the difference between your time and my time, or check the link below this video player. I always keep a time zone converter in the description of the live classroom so that you can easily convert Eastern USA time to whatever time it is where you are. So thanks so much for watching and joining me as we continue with this book. It's been fun doing a more casual project like this. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on Thursday Have a great afternoon. Bye now.